Live.
Go on at it. What's hot? Know your role and shut your mouth, you jabroni.
Yeah, when it's grim, be the Grim Reaper and go get it.
It's Mahomes' house. And it is good, good, good. Woo! Arrowhead man.
The Lombardi Trophy has a red and gold reflection.
You gotta fight for your right to party.
Let's go!
Howdy, Chiefs Kingdom. It's Wednesday. It's 8 o'clock. It's Chiefs Kingdom Live. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget, real quick, while you're here, click or tap that like, click or tap that subscribe. Tell a friend, tell a family member, tell a Chiefs fan, tell them to tell some more Chiefs fans. Help spread the word. We'd sure appreciate it. Got a good show lined up for y'all tonight. Getting back to that like and subscribe. We're like 19 people away from the giveaway. So
we're in the teens.
If you're watching this video right now, just go ahead real quick. We'll give you a second here. Click subscribe. And then make sure you get to us on social media or the Chiefs Kingdom Live Gmail account with proof that you're subscribed and how to get a hold of you so that when we do these giveaways here, we can make sure to get you hooked up. That out of the way. We're
awesome prizes though. We're giving away some jerseys, some KC swag, T-shirts, confetti, stickers, you name it. It's do yourself a favor. Go hit that sub button.
There's a Patrick Mahomes Super Bowl jersey. That's all you need to know. All the other shit is just cherry on top, icing on the cake, right? As they like to say.
I even have like authentic grass from Arrowhead Field that I could throw in there.
Right. We got lots of stuff we could throw in.
I obtained legitimately.
Right. Make sure you're subscribed and go watch the short that we put together that tells you how to get entered for the giveaways. We want to give this stuff away. Like, we're dying here to give this stuff away. So
I wanted to give it away sooner.
I know. I was hoping we'd be able to have a chance to already hook somebody up or hook somebody's up by now, but we'll get there. Got a good show tonight. Feels like it's the off season or some shit right now. Like, it's been so long since it feels like I've watched the Chiefs game.
My blood pressure's enjoying it, but yeah.
It's been right. Last episode we talked about the big win over the Miami Dolphins in Frankfurt, Germany. If you missed that, after this episode's over, go back and check that out. Tonight we're gonna talk about the amazingly awesome bye week that the Chiefs had. Has there ever been a team that had a bye week go as well as the Chiefs' bye week did? I mean, it was unbelievable.
Aside from winning, I mean, we pretty much won the bye week.
Yeah. We put out there on the Chiefs Kingdom Live X account, the app formerly known as Twitter. You can follow us there. You can follow us at Instagram, Facebook, at Chiefs Kingdom Live. Even when the Chiefs don't play, they still win because they've just got the magic on them these last handful of years since Patrick Mahomes came to town. So everything's turning up. Chiefs will also break down and look ahead and give some predictions to the Monday Night Football game at Arrowhead against the Philadelphia Eagle. Dude, that's a matchup of number one seeds in the conference, Super Bowl rematch. I mean, it's not really a Super Bowl rematch. It's not like if the Eagles win, now they get the trophy or some shit like that. But just the two previous Super Bowl participants are also happen to be in first place in their conferences right now, and they're playing in prime time.
I think they're both favorited to be the contenders in the Super Bowl again.
Yep. So got a lot to talk about with that game coming up here. Before we get into it, fellas, how you been, Nick?
Oh, great. Like you said, I mean, we don't have to worry about a Chiefs game, and we still go up on everybody of consequence in the AFC. And the AFC, it was amazing. Amazing weekend. Had a lot of fun. Out with family, doing some stuff that, just taking it easy, right? We had the bye week too as fans. It's nice to get that one little Sunday back. Seems like forever since we've had football, but otherwise I'm doing good. Is this the best, record-wise matchup, AFC, NFC in the NFL since the Chiefs and the Rams game, the one where it was over 100 points scored?
The 100-point game.
It was 6-1 and 6-1, wasn't it? I mean, has there been a match where teams have like been number one. I mean, with these types of records that you can remember since that game.
I mean, not that I remember, but it has to have happened at some point.
Yeah.
Especially if you got two teams that are only one or two lost teams. I mean, that's going to put you right there at the top of your conference most of the time anyway, especially once you get past the halfway point of the season. But I'm sure it doesn't happen often if it does happen. Bo?
Shippy, what's up, man? How you doing, Shippy?
Yeah, good to see you, Shippy. How you doing, Bo?
I'm doing great, man. Still loving being here in Kansas City, soaking it up as much as I can. Went and explored downtown, checked out some events at the Kauffman Center, had some more barbecue. I think that's going to be a weekly thing, if not bi-weekly, meaning twice a week, not every other week. There's enough spots here. I mean, you can have a new spot every day, I think, for the 15, 16 weeks we're going to be here. So, no, dude, doing great, man. Loving the weather here. Beautiful day out. Loving Kansas City. Like Nick said, it's tough with no Chiefs football, but man, what a cool weekend of games. So many little stories that just extend the Chiefs ahead and a little bit more, really lock up that first place position in the AFC. It's weird to think that if the playoffs were to happen next week, the Bills and the Bengals would kind of miss out on it. You're just like, what is going on in the football world? The Browns are a team. Like who would have thought they're coming out of nowhere? Texans, but I'm doing good. Yeah, let's get into this show. How you doing, Scotty?
Well, I'm doing real good. I want to give a shout out to everybody in the chat here: Brenda, Carol, John C, Tom. I don't know if I saw Laney or Doug in there yet, but I'm sure they'll be joining us soon if they're not in there already. Yeah,
Demented.
Doing good. Doing real good. Oh, man, Tom Hood, a man down there in the Caribbean, joining us. Good to see you, Tom. Thanks for swinging by.
An international show, you know.
Right. Yep. I'm doing real good. Just ready for the Chiefs to get some football games going on and get back to watching Patrick Mahomes and the guys play some football. So I don't know what it is about the bye week, just because maybe it's because they played Sunday morning and then the bye game is the week after the bye is Monday night. It's the two furthest possible distances I think you could play football games apart is what the Chiefs got going on here. But excited, especially with all the teams we talked about losing. Put out a post on X and it was showing all these Bengals and Bills are in the hunt for the playoffs, and there's all this fresh blood in the AFC playoff picture right now with the Browns and the Texans and Chiefs, though, right there back at number one AFC seed, the one spot with the bye. And it's the more things change, the more they stay the same. You know what I mean? Good to be in Chiefs Kingdom right now, for sure. So let's just talk about that bye week here for a minute before we get to the game against Philadelphia.
Upset weekend, right? Or upset? I felt it like it was.
12 men on the field.
Yeah, no.
12th man still helping out Russell Wilson.
I wonder if you would have had the foresight to look into that and predict that. I wonder what kind of odds and money you could have won on a parlay for the Bills, the Bengals, all of these teams, the Ravens, every one of them to lose. You probably could have made some serious jack on a parlay like that. So
I hope Kevin did. He said right here to everyone that bet his lock of the week, the Browns or the Ravens, enjoy your winnings. I hope you got some winnings there, Kevin. That was a hell of a call there, man.
I missed that lock, so I don't really gamble either, though, which – if you were with Bo and I in Vegas back in April at the blackjack table, you know why Scott doesn't gamble.
I'm just bad luck.
Go. He had a rough go.
Yeah, it was tough. It was rough. But so let's just talk about a little bit of these games. I mean, every single team that was nipping at the Chiefs' heels or had the same record. Now the Chiefs are still in first place in the conference because they had tiebreakers over a couple of the teams that they were tied with for losses. But all those teams lose. I mean, the Jaguars lose, and the Ravens lose, and the Bengals lose, and the Bills lose, and the Chargers lose.
Right, dude.
And of course, I put a post out on the Chiefs Kingdom Live X account that says like Jaguars L, Chargers L, Ravens L, Bills L, Bengals L, and like there are people who are like, oh, well, the Raiders won, no, and they're at 500. I'm like, bro, that's not a contender. Like, I think to me, probably the most comical loss has to be the Bills losing at home to the Broncos, and just the way that whole thing went down. Josh Allen, I've been saying it on this show for a couple seasons now. The shelf life for Josh Allen was always going to be shorter than your average NFL quarterback. He just reminded me so much of Cam Newton. Once the legs and the running goes down, Josh Allen is basically good at running and throwing to wide open receivers. He had 3 more turnovers in the game Monday against Denver. There was some tweets going out. Nick Wright and some other people were putting out there that he's led the league in turnovers and led the league in interceptions every year, basically since he started in the league in 2018. The guy's a turnover machine now, killing the team. There's turmoil. They just fired their offensive coordinator and replaced him with the quarterback's coach who's coaching the guy that's really playing like shit and really the one that's like hurting the team and costing him these games. Doesn't make any sense what's going on there. Bills Mafia. Hey, we'll take it, right? I mean, I don't know what to say. They get a sack on 3rd down to push the Broncos out of field goal range with very little time left in the 4th quarter. Russell Wilson chucks up a prayer that gets bailed out on a pass interference call. I saw a lot of people debating whether that's pass interference or not. I don't really want to get into that on this show. But so they get the 1st down in field goal range. Then they miss the game-winning field goal. But, oh, by the way, the Bills got 12 people on defense for the kick. So Denver gets to re-kick it, and they lose. Did you guys watch that game, Nick?
Oh, yeah.
Bo?
No, I crashed out. It had been a day and a half, but did you guys notice? I did watch the replays. Did you guys notice Denver kicked that kick on 13 seconds left on the clock?
Yep.
And somebody put out a meme like, man, 13 seconds is just going to haunt Buffalo for their entire franchise life.
Right. Yeah, no, just the Bills are in shambles right now. I mean, they're 5-5. They're 500 10 weeks into the season. When we did our off-season shows, I think we kind of talked about that this could be a season for the Bills to regress. They kind of peaked there, and then the Chiefs knocked them out of the AFC Championship game, and then the next year beat them in the divisional round in the 13-second game. And that team really hasn't gotten all the way up off the mat and recovered from being knocked down in those 2 playoff games by the Chiefs. Bo, what do you think about the Bills? You think they're a dangerous team? You think they recover and make the playoffs? What do you think?
I mean, you alluded to it. We've been talking about this since the offseason, right? Everybody had a sneaking suspicion that the Bills just weren't going to be the same Bills that we'd seen in the past 2 years. That's for sure. I mean, we saw all the turmoil with Diggs and Josh Allen and the coaching staff in the offseason that we just kind of like, something's a little fishy here. And then they kind of quelched it as the season started, and they looked good. I mean, they beat the Dolphins after they put up 70 on the Broncos, right? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, they're a big question mark at this point, man. I think they're kind of on their way down. I don't think they're going to really peak this season like we've seen them before. I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. I think it's has to do with a lot of Josh Allen and their intentional play design where they have him run it. And I think they tried to get away from that, and then they realized like that was their identity. Like, man, like he's not really that good of a passer, and so you're just kind of seeing the throughput of having a non-running quarterback. So,
yeah. Nick, Bills, are they toast right now? Josh Allen, is he washed, or is it they're just
you look at their
right put it back together? What do you think?
Yeah, John C brought it up, right? I mean, their schedule for the rest of the way out is harder than what they've gone through. So, look, I'm not saying I'm not ready to throw dirt on them yet because they could get it together. Sometimes when people start losing their jobs, people pick up. But you see what Stephon Diggs' brother is putting out there on Twitter, like basically calling out that Josh Allen was a nobody before Stephon Diggs got there. It ain't looking good. It's not, as Todd Haley would say, the arrow's not pointed in the right direction, right? They're trending downward right now. So I agree with what you're saying. They're, it's only going to get harder as they start paying Josh Allen more of that contract money that, I think this is maybe the first year where his big contract kicks in. So, I mean, they're going to have to start making financial decisions based on what they're paying him. And, it looks like he's aging like milk a little bit. He's like a high risk, high reward guy, right? He makes a lot of wow plays, but he makes a lot of plays that are wow, but ooh, man, it's like, I think I've seen a lot of people compare him to Brett Favre. And so you're going to have times where the wow just stacks up, and you go to the AFC Championship game. You have almost a perfect game in Kansas City in the 13-second game. You still lose, but I mean, anybody that watched that game knows he played phenomenal in that game. And then you're going to have where it's going to regress to the mean, and you're going to have some of those picks that were dropped get intercepted. And it's just going to happen. I think what we're seeing here, because everybody's just turning on Josh Allen right now in the national media, I think some of it's a distortion of just how hard it is to maintain that level of play over several years in the NFL. And like, you see the Chiefs and you've seen the Patriots do it before the Chiefs, but you have that gold standard right now is Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Kansas City Chiefs, and what they've been able to do, trading guys in and out, receivers come and leave, guys get hurt, Chiefs still win. And I think that people see that, and then now they're like, well, how come Joe Burrow and Josh Allen can't do that every year? And it's just, well, like, they're not Patrick Mahomes and they're not Andy Reid. That's why those guys are so rare. It is so hard to maintain that level of play in the NFL for that period, like that long of a period of time. And, not everybody can do it. So it doesn't mean that he's done, but it just means that they might not, they might miss the playoffs this year, which, seems insane to think about. But I mean, that's a pretty common thing for, guys to not make the playoffs every year. Right? Doesn't mean their career's over.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's an excellent point about it being hard to, not that they've been on top of the mountain, because the Chiefs have been on top of the mountain, but to stay near the top of the mountain. I mean, you see it all year. You see year in, year out, teams come in, make the playoffs, even as a higher seed. Look at the Vikings last year. They were the 1 or the 2 seed. They were the 2 seed in the NFC because the Eagles were 1. They were the 2 seed in the NFC. They come out this year, they start 0-4, and they've clawed their way back into that 7th seeded playoff spot. But to sit there and consistently be one of the top 2 or 3 teams in your conference year after year after year after year is just so difficult. It just makes it all the more impressive for what the Chiefs have done. They're going to win another division title this year. The Chargers loss basically wrapped that thing up. They're going to get a home game. They're tracking right now to be the number 1 team in the AFC in the playoffs. I think I saw they had a 65% chance according to the Vegas odds, or maybe it was one of these analytical sites, to host the AFC Championship game this year. And the next closest team was at like 30 or 35%. I want to say maybe it was the Dolphins. So, yeah, I mean, it's hard enough to stay at the top and make the playoffs year after year after year. The Chiefs, they'd be going for 6 straight AFC Championship games at home.
That sounds so ridiculous, man.
What? Patrick Mahomes has never played a road playoff game?
It's so happy.
Some of the stuff this team is doing, you hear this saying, like, they're like normalizing greatness. And I feel like that sets in with a little bit of the Chiefs fans and maybe some of the media too. They just don't really appreciate what they're seeing. That's why you always see them picking the new flavor of the week team. It was the Ravens until this week, right? Oh, they're the new best team in the NFL. Not the team that's been to 3 of the last 4 Super Bowls and won 2 of them and had 5 straight AFC Championship games at home. Not that team. It's one of these other teams, right, that's won 2 or 3 or 4 games in a row.
Yeah, Burrow looked good for 3 games, right? Like, surely it's going to be the Bengals on top now.
Right.
And what they've done every season, right?
Yeah. And that's that power rankings mentality. You see these power rankings, and all it is a ranking of who's won 2 or 3 games in a row most recently. Because that's all it is. Like, team moves its way up, wins 2 or 3 or 4 games, they move up, then they lose, and then they move back, and another team that was behind them kind of passes them up. And you see this just like revolving door on power rankings. That's why I think they're so funny to read and
right,
pretty pointless.
So reactionary, right?
Right. Like if you're the best team in the NFL and you lose a game, now you're not all of a sudden the 5th best team in the NFL. You were always the best team in the conference or in the NFL. You just lost a game. No one goes undefeated. It's only happened twice in the regular season in the history of the league. So looks like our man John V's in the house. Good to see you, bro. I think it's been a couple weeks since
he wasn't a big fan of your normalizing greatness quote.
What's that?
He wasn't a big fan of your normalizing greatness quote.
No. I mean, his Niners did it back in the 80s, right? Everybody expected them. They were in the Super Bowl every year and winning and were like unstoppable.
Yeah, completely.
They got a big win here. Went down to Jacksonville and just
crushed
up on the Jaguars.
Saw that game.
John V's Niners looking good. Maybe they're getting healthy. I know they got Debo back in that game. I want to say Kittle was back. Brock Purdy is back maybe from the concussion, feeling better. So they looked good again, helping the Chiefs out, knocking the Jags, who I think they had won like 5 games in a row and were tied with losses with the Chiefs for 2 losses. Another game goes the Chiefs' way. Bengals, Texans. Let's talk about that game here for just a couple minutes. That game wasn't on TV here, so I didn't get to watch it. Bo, did you watch that game?
Yeah, I got the direct TV thing where you can split screen it. So I was watching like 4 games at once. But yeah.
They lose to the Texans. And the Texans, from the scores and the highlights they were showing during the game I was watching, the Texans, it wasn't like the Bengals were winning the whole game and kind of choked it away at the end, and the Texans got a fluky touchdown or a late last-second field goal to win the game. They were winning and in control of that game most of the way, weren't they?
No, yeah, for sure. And like it kind of looked like an ass whooping. Like, oh man, they're handing it to the Bengals. And to the Bengals' credit, they fought back and made it a good football game. And it was a shootout at the end. And hats off to CJ Stroud and company.
I think that the Bengals were down 10 with like 3.5 minutes left.
Yeah. And I mean, Jamar Chase is he's a different animal when it comes to receivers, right? He's up there in the upper echelon of the top 3-4 guys there. I think he gets kind of overshadowed between like Tyreek's and Justin Jefferson's. I mean, he's right there too. Had himself a game. He's been having himself a season so far. So, they made it a shootout, and it was a great game to watch. But those Texans, man, I can't really put my thumb on them. I don't know if they're that good or just like catching the Broncos, getting 70 on you, but then the Broncos come back and beat the Chiefs and the Bills now. It's like, what I don't know. This is an awkward season when it comes to trying to do like football math in regular terms. Like this team beat that team, therefore your team can beat this team kind of thing.
Right. We're talking about the Bills' struggles. The Bengals whipped up on the Bills 2 weeks ago. So
yeah.
Bills are in trouble. Well, what do we think, Nick? What do you think about the Bengals right now? Are they just laying in the weeds and getting ready to pounce and start catching their stride down the stretch here? Are they maybe falling off a little bit from the last couple of years? I want to say they started 5-4 the last 2 or 3 seasons,
2 years,
and ended up winning 6 or 7 or 8 straight games to close the season out. But they've had their struggles, and outside of Jamar Chase, that offense, T. Higgins has been hurt and also really not having the type of season we've seen him have before. Their defense has taken some hits. Their offensive line is still probably one of their biggest issues, if not their biggest issue. I want to say Joe Burrow got sacked 3 or 4 times on 3rd down in that game against the Texans, which was huge for Houston winning that game. Nick, what do you think of the Bengals right now?
Well, T. Higgins is not going to play versus the Ravens, right? I think that was posted. In Lamar Jackson hasn't been healthy for the entirety of the last 2 seasons, I think was one of the reasons that the Bengals were able to kind of sneak in there. I know that they only play them twice a year, but look, I'm not saying that they're not going to. I think they'll be a playoff team. I think that they'll figure out a way to make the playoffs. I think that they're too good to miss. But I don't know that you're going to see them go on this, golden streak like they have the last couple of years where they just win out and either go to the Super Bowl or get a game away from the Super Bowl. So I think that, they talk about windows, right? And like the Joe Burrow contract is real and it's coming. And so, their window, this is like one of their last real good opportunities for them to punch their ticket. So I think they're going to be knowing that and pushing really hard. But yeah, like you said, Scott, it's really hard to overcome that offensive line play. Like OBJ, like he does not look good. I mean, I think that that his stats, he's performing horribly on that line, which is kind of funny. What makes it look like maybe he was blaming Patrick for dropping too deep. Maybe Patrick was dropping deep and running away from him for a reason, right? Because he was trying not to get sacked. So
right.
I think that you're going to see them make a push. I think the Ravens are still going to win the division. So the Bengals, you're looking at, like a probably 5-6 seed situation there, but they're dangerous as a road playoff team. So Joe Burrow's good. So I'm not going to say that they're not going to make the playoffs. I mean, it would be, in my heart of hearts, I really would like to see AFC playoffs without the Bills and the Bengals. Not because I'm scared of those teams, but I just think it'd be funny after all the shit that got talked from those two fan bases for the last couple of years, to get humbled a little bit there. Probably sounds funny coming from a Chiefs fan, right? Because we're not exactly the model for humble right now. But I think you'll see them sneak in as a wild card team.
Yeah, Bo, what do you think about the Bengals?
Like I said, it's hard to put my thumb on them, man. Like one week they'll just crush it, another week they just fold. It's mid-season, so it's hard to pin like, oh, well, this guy's kind of hurt, this guy's kind of hurt. Like most teams, these guys are kind of hurt in key positions, right? So I don't know if that's like really an excuse, but I mean, they are banged up. And when you have O linemen go down and, you're running for your life as quarterback, things are really difficult. So I think that's kind of what they're facing right now. But man, they have to claw their way back to get back into that. That's a tough division this year. Like where normally it's kind of just like one or two teams. That whole division's got some fighters in it this year. So they got some work to do. I definitely see them coming back though, as Nick said, making a playoff run too, being a scary team in the playoffs too. And it's kind of better for them to have like the lower seed, you know what I mean? Like I mean, you kind of play a tougher opponent, but like you kind of have like the easier road through the playoffs a little bit sometimes. If you're the 5-6 seed, sometimes you avoid some of the chaos. So I don't know. They're a big question mark to me. I don't know. I mean, either way, I wouldn't be surprised if they go either way though.
Yeah. I think it was Tom made a good point about the Browns losing Deshaun Watson. They're currently in the playoffs right now. I think they fade as well. And I just don't see them. I can see that. I don't see them making the playoffs with the quarterback that they have, the backup there. So they do have a solid defense, but part of that was playing. I don't want to say weaker competition earlier in the season because they played good defense against the 49ers and a couple other teams, but the Ravens smashed that defense in the mouth. I mean, we haven't seen the Chiefs defense give up 31 points to anybody yet this year. So does a good defense really get beat up like that in a game? The Ravens had a defense that was ranked in the top 2 or 3 there, but they also kind of got stepped on by the Browns, who are okay at offense. Deshaun Watson had a slow start to that game, got a little bit better, had the ankle injury, now has the shoulder injury and is out for the year. So I think a team like that fading down the stretch bodes well for teams in the hunt, especially two of the better teams in the hunt with Buffalo and Cincinnati. But I think one of those teams definitely misses.
Yeah.
I don't think there's going to be room for both of those teams in here in there right now. I'd almost say it's hard to say with the Dolphins because I'd say the Dolphins are going to win that division, and so you're going to have the Ravens win their division and the Dolphins win their division and have Buffalo and Cincinnati and these other teams scrapping for those last 2 or 3 wild card spots there. But the Bills handled the Dolphins fairly easily a couple weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago when they played them. So I think the Bills have a better chance of winning their division than the Bengals do at this point now with the way the Ravens are playing. And
that's fair.
So we'll see what happens there. Another team I want to talk about before here's kind of in the AFC playoff picture before we start talking about the Chiefs and their game against the Eagles. What do we think of the Texans and C.J. Stroud right now? Look, this team last year, they took the Chiefs to overtime. And they didn't have a good record, but they were not a doormat last year. They were playing teams tough and losing close games. They obviously did not have a quarterback playing at the level CJ Stroud's playing at right now. Last year, there was signs of life and legitimacy to this team last year. So I think that lends to them being more for real right now this season. They are in a weak division. I know they're in there with the Jaguars, who won 5 in a row, but Jaguars lost to the Chiefs. The Jaguars have struggled. They just got punked by the 49ers. So I could see them battling Jacksonville, taking that maybe division down to the wire right now. I think they're legit. I'm also not worried about playing the Houston Texans in the playoffs.
Right.
With our defense and a rookie quarterback, more than likely playing the game at home at Arrowhead.
Oh, yeah, rookie at Arrowhead.
I think the Chiefs would probably easily be a 5 to 7 point favorite, maybe even an 8 or a 9 point favorite in a game like that. But, Nick, what are you seeing out of the Texans? Are they for real? Are they taking advantage of a last place schedule? What do you think about them?
Look, I saw the end of their game against, was it the Saints? Yeah. And Derek Carr went down, scored a touchdown, went up by 4 points, I believe, with 45 seconds or something left. I think the Texans had one timeout. And I watched him go down the field. He didn't panic. He made the plays. They even burned their timeout early on that drive. And they had a play down the middle that he threw down the middle. I was like, dude, there you go. That's it. There's not enough time. And, they got the ball, they got spiked, and then he made the plays and he won the game. And then I know that he had a little hiccup against I think he had a pretty bad pick against the Bengals, but I'm seeing a guy that he can close out games and win at the end against, quality opponents. Right. I'm not saying the Saints are like a great team, but I mean, Derek Carr, he's not super awful.
The Saints aren't either, though, right?
Yeah, and the Bengals defense is no joke, right? I mean, the Bengals defense is no joke to go down and put up a game-winning drive there. So I don't know. I think that the kid's shown that he can perform. I would rather play the Texans though in the playoffs than the Bengals or the Bills. Just I know the capabilities of those teams, right? I've seen them both take the Chiefs to the wire. I've seen the Bengals in person, unfortunately, end our season. So, I mean, I would defer to playing a rookie. I mean, if we have the shot. Maybe they have a Cinderella season, and I'm eating my words there, but I really don't think so. I mean, I would much rather play the Texans. So, but I think I think Stroud's going to be good. I think he's going to be a good quarterback for the next few years at least. I mean, it seems like the dude can play. I mean, that's difficult, right? To come in your rookie year in a new team and a team that's been in disarray and to perform like that, it's impressive.
For sure. Bo, what do you think about the Texans?
Yeah, man, like I echo Nick's sentiments exactly almost. The past 2 weeks of football have just been weird, and the Texans are one of those weird teams for me where you're just kind of like, okay, are they coming up? Are they for real? CJ Stroud's numbers, they're all backing him, man. He's breaking rookie numbers left and right. I mean, everything Justin Herbert did, he's breaking those records. Everything Ben Roethlisberger he did on his rookie year, he's doing that. I mean, it's a weird kind of statistic to throw out there, knowing that Patrick Mahomes didn't get a full rookie season, right? He only got like one game on his rookie season, but for like a full rookie season, this guy's tearing it up. He's setting all the records. So I mean, the numbers are backing him up, saying that he's a guy. But man, these 2 weeks have just been so strange. Like they kind of tilted all the Vegas odds a little bit this past weekend. So is it that? Are we just seeing like a little anomaly, a little hiccup in what we're used to, or are these teams like changing course a little bit? Like the Texans seem to be one of those teams changing course. I mean, 2 big wins week after week in a game that if you just build off momentum, you can keep it going for a while. And I kind of see them being like the Giants were last year for the NFC. Like they kind of sneak in and just ruin somebody's party like they did the Vikings. You know what I mean? They just come in and like everybody's like, yeah, I'd rather play those guys, and then like just ruin somebody's day. I doubt we would underestimate them like that, but I could see them doing that to somebody else for sure.
Yeah, the one thing that the Bills and the Bengals have that the Texans don't have is that experience and postseason games under their belt. So to me, that's why I would lean towards, I'd rather play them than the Bills or the Bengals. But with the way the Chiefs defense is playing, I'm not worried about any of these teams in the AFC right now, and be quite honest with you. I'm not. They proved it again before the bye week and shutting down the top offense in the NFL. There's no fool's gold. This isn't a mirage. The Chiefs defense is legit. Nick Bolton is going to be coming back to this defense. They're loaded all three levels, defensive line, linebackers, secondary, just playmakers everywhere. So, yeah, the team I want to play is the Steelers that are currently in the playoffs right now, somehow with
better than a bye.
And the old funny better than a bye week. There's no threat of really losing the game, and you also get to stay fresh, right? So, but right now the Chiefs would get the bye week, so we'll see how that shakes out. I don't see the Steelers hanging on and making the playoffs, which I think also helps the Bills or the Bengals kind of slip in there. But
I'm with you, John B. I'm just happy to see trash teams start trending upwards. Like, as much as I like to give Nick a bunch of shit about his Browns, man, it's kind of good to see them doing well and watching him wear his jersey with pride on the locker room right there.
I'm not sweating my bet with Nick hard on here, but I do have a bet with Nick that the Bengals would finish ahead of the Browns in that division. And right now the Bengals are in dead last place.
Yeah,
so,
dead last. Yeah, Browns are second, right? Yeah, they're second right under the Ravens.
I still expect to win that bet, especially with Deshaun Watson being injured, which unfortunately for the Browns fans and that team, it is a major blow to them and a resurgent year where they're playing well. And I think the defense is good, but I don't know that the defense is good enough to carry that team in that division into the playoffs. So let's talk about the Chiefs. We just talked about all the competition, the teams that lost and helped them out. They're firmly in first place in the AFC right now, the number one seed if the playoffs were to start today. That coveted, even more important, bye week now that only one team gets the bye. They take on the Philadelphia Eagles at Arrowhead. Monday Night Football, Kelsey Bowl rematch, Super Bowl participants.
Like the family reunion bowl.
two best records in the NFL and the top spots in their respective conferences going at it. This is going to be a good game. And the Eagles are a formidable opponent. Although if you look at some of the games they've won, they have a lot they look almost like the damn Vikings last year, winning a lot of these one-score, close, nail-biter games, pulling them out week after week after week. I want to say they played the Commanders 2 out of 3 games here in the last 3 or 4 weeks and damn near lost both of those games. They lost to the Jets. They've eked out a couple other wins against some teams that maybe playoff teams, maybe not playoff teams. Before we kind of get into what we think the keys to the game are, Bo, what do you think about the Eagles this year? Are they as good as they were last year? Are they maybe not quite as good and winning closer games than they did last year? What do you think?
I think there's every reason to believe that they're as good as they were last year. They didn't get rid of too many guys. They still have studs on offense and defense. And they're having a hell of a year. I mean, like I said, these past 2 weeks have just been such anomalies. They beat, like you said, they struggle against the Commanders and then beat the Cowboys, who look like they're one of the toughest teams in football right now. So it's just like these past 2 weeks have just been a toss-up for me. But no, I've kind of noticed that it looks to me like Jalen Hurts is a lot more hurt than he's letting on. He's been wearing a knee brace in all these games and kind of covering it up with socks, but like you see him limping, and it's definitely affecting their typical play pattern where they use him as a running threat a lot. So I'm just, again, another anomaly for me. I do think they're that good though. Still, I mean, Jalen Hurts isn't like Josh Allen where like he doesn't need to run. He can sit back and actually throw more accurate balls, and he has AJ Brown and Swift and everybody to just kind of back him up there. So. Yeah, I would say that they're a formidable opponent and something we should definitely not take too lightly.
Nick, what do you think about the Eagles?
They suck. No, I'm
well, there you go.
Yeah, no. After Bo talked him up, I just felt like I had to go completely opposite direction. Yeah, look, I have a lot of respect for teams that can continually win close games. The Vikings, I think, were kind of fool's gold a little bit last year in that respect. Sorry, Race Car, I know you're a Vikings fan. I mean, you see a lot of teams that can win by a lot of points when things are going good. But it seems like as soon as those teams, the Cowboys are an example, as soon as they get punched in the mouth by somebody, it's like they fall apart. They don't know what to do, right? Don't fall apart, and they know, and they keep fighting, they keep scrapping, and they don't always win pretty, but they win a lot more than they lose right now. I mean, it kind of reminds me of the Chiefs, to be honest, in a way where the Chiefs just seem to figure out a way to be a couple plays better most of the time to come out on top. And so the two very different teams, right now the Chiefs are playing defensive football with I'm not going to even say complementary offense. The offense has been really pretty brutal the last few weeks for the Chiefs, but I just there's teams that have a winning DNA and there's teams that don't. Yeah, Chris, see, I mean, you agree, right?
Chris agrees with you.
Yeah. I got somebody to co-sign, so we're doing good. But there's teams with winning DNA and there's teams with losing DNA. The Chargers have losing DNA, right? I mean, they just it doesn't matter whether their defense performs well or their offense performs well. They figure out a way to lose. The Eagles and the Chiefs, they seem to figure out a way to win. So, I mean, I think this is going to be a really hard-fought game. We really got to keep them out of those really short yardage situations because the brotherly shove, Scott's favorite play in the history of the NFL.
No rebranding. It's the tush push. No brotherly shove. No brotherly love here. Tush push.
So it's still technically legal this year. So, we just got to keep them, at third and long, and I think we're going to be good. But yeah, it's going to be a tough game. The Eagles are a good team. And they want it. They want to beat us. We ended their year. They went home without a trophy, and it's going to be tough.
Remember, Jalen Hurts has a screensaver of all the red and gold confetti on his phone. Stephon Diggs.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, no, look, we did rebrand the play last week. It's called the Week Sneak. Remember?
Oh yeah.
The week sneak. Yes, the week sneak.
Week sneak, because they need to have about 12 guys line up behind the cornerback and shove them forward for the first down. So, look, the Eagles, to me, I'm not trying to disrespect the Eagles or not say that they're a good team. I don't know that they're quite as good as they were last year. I don't know if it's injury. Jalen Hurts is not playing as good this year as he did last year. He hasn't fallen off a lot, but he hasn't played as good either. Their defense is suspect, especially in the secondary. In the pass defense, they can be exploited. They've given up a lot of points in a handful of these games. I want to say they gave up 30 points or damn near 30 points in both games to the Commanders. Look, they can be had defensively. So, yeah, I don't know that they are as good as they were last year, but I also don't know that the Chiefs are as good as they were last year. We've seen them struggle. We've seen them struggle on offense a lot more than they did last year. Now, maybe the steps forward that made by the defense makes up for that, and maybe even then some to make them better than they were last year. So it's going to be interesting to see. But Nick, what do you think is the key, the key for the Chiefs in this game against the Eagles? What is it? Is it Patrick Mahomes trying to exploit the pass defense? Is it the pass rush, keeping Jalen Hurts off rhythm, maybe knocking him around, especially if he's already a little lame right now, a little bit beat up? What do you think?
Yeah, so one of the things that I said already was third and long, right? Don't let him get third and short, and then I think contain AJ Brown, just like we did with Cheetah, right? I mean,
exactly.
AJ Brown, you severely limit their offense. As much as people say that, or his brother said that Stephon Diggs was the kingmaker for Josh Allen, AJ Brown last year was kind of the kingmaker for Jalen Hurts, right? So just like Tyreek seemed to make Tua. So if you can take that dude away and you can get them into longer yard situations on third down, I think that their offense is going to struggle to put up points against our defense. And then from there, it's just, the offense has to step up, right? Mahomes has been saying it for weeks. And that, so I think that if you can do those two things, though, you're going to be in a really good position to win this game.
Yeah. Bo, what do you think's the most important thing for the Chiefs?
Any other week I would say like spying Hurts. And I feel like that's still going to be like something really crucial to look at is make sure he doesn't, wreck us by taking off and being lethal on the ground. But I'm just not seeing that from the past couple of weeks, whether it is an injury or they're kind of revamping the way they're playing some stuff. I'm really going to say like what Nick said is bracketing AJ Brown and then tightening up the run defense. I mean, that's kind of been one of our Achilles heels all year is letting teams run on us, and they have a formidable run game. So, I mean, that's something that we definitely need to sharpen up our edges on. But I mean, it's just for us, I feel like it's the little stuff. If we can just eliminate turnovers and like stupid penalties, we should be okay in any game, right? Like there's not like keys. You just play our ball. We've said it plenty of times today and plenty of times this season. Our defense is something is something to not mess with. Like we're gonna make them struggle a lot more than they were used to seeing us in the Super Bowl. And then their defense is banged up and kind of like Swiss cheese right now. So you kind of alluded to it. I think Patrick Mahomes is gonna make them struggle, make them really think about what they're gonna do. And I think we're gonna kind of see a different offense this week.
Yeah, I think the key to the game is gonna be shutting down AJ Brown. Don't let that guy beat you.
Yeah, that's everybody in agreement.
Lock that guy down, man. Get Trent McDuffie on him. Get L'Jarius Sneed on him and Devontae Smith. Make Jalen Hurts beat you with his legs because right now I don't think that he can. I don't think that he's healthy enough to give you the old Lamar Jackson treatment, right? Like he did, especially last year. Makes a lot happens, picks up a lot of first downs, scores touchdowns running the ball. He's hobbled, so make him try to beat you like that and just don't give up the big plays. Don't get beat over the top. Don't knock yourself out with the mic there, when microphones attack.
It's out of nowhere.
So I think it's going to be on the defense. I think the key to the Chiefs win is going to fall more on the defense this week than it is the offense. Right now with the Chiefs offense, the way they're playing, and the receivers, Travis Kelce, that was kind of an anomaly thing where he was pretty silent, really kind of a non-factor against the Dolphins, made a couple of catches, but I think they find a way to get him going, especially with the bye week and getting healthy a little bit. He started the season off injured with that knee problem, and he had kind of a quiet game against the Lions. Had a couple of huge games, though, after that. He went on kind of a stretch there, but I don't think you see them lock him down like that. But right now, it's just a wide receiving core. It is what it is. I think you're seeing what you're going to get. And with Josh Gordon now completely out of the picture, where's it going to come from? Is Tony or Sky Moore just all of a sudden overnight going to bust out and become a game-breaking wide receiver? There was this
hopefully
there's this kind of like narrative or whatever you want to call it out there that Kadarius Toney's not seeing snaps and not seeing targets in action because they're saving him for the playoffs, and he was hurt to start the year and he had that knee surgery, so they're being careful with him. Well, they weren't very careful with him week one, if that's the case. So I just don't think that the guy's getting open and making plays, and Sky Moore isn't either. And Patrick's not trusting those guys to make the contested play when you're continuing to drop passes. MVS he's MVS. He's been pretty much what he's been his entire career. Good for a big play here and there and a good big game here and there. But for the most part, he's just another guy. He's a third or fourth wide receiver on a team. So, yeah, it's going to fall on the defense. The defense is going to have to contain that Eagles offense. I don't want to see a shootout with their wide receiving core, Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. I don't want to get a track meet with that team right now. Right. And not that I don't think we're going to have to, because Chiefs secondary. You go look at the numbers. They held Tyreek Hill to under 70 yards. They held Justin Jefferson and doggone the other guy's name.
For the Lions.
No. It was like they held what's his face? Somebody, Justin Jefferson and that other. I can't think of it now, but they held like those two guys to a combined under 100 yards.
Was Tyreek and Justin Jefferson?
They've been good.
Mm-hmm.
And was it Tyreek and Justin? I was thinking there was another receiver in there, but maybe that's what the number was. Calvin Ridley, he's gotten kind of quiet here the last few weeks, but the Chiefs shut him down. He didn't do anything. There has not been one wide receiver that's had a big game yet against this secondary. So, how do we think the Chiefs attack the Eagles then on offense? Nick, do you think we run the ball more? Do you think they test that secondary? Where do the Chiefs find the most success on offense?
Yeah, I'd like to see a good run attack against them, right? For one, it shortens the game. Two, it takes some pressure off of Mahomes and the receiving core. If they've got to account for the run, then it makes it easier. The play action comes into play. And then it brings everybody up so the receivers can get open and make it easy on Travis Kelce. So I would like to see us not give up on the run, right? I know it's not the sexiest way to win a game, but I think that right now, offensively, our team is kind of struggling to find an identity on offense, and we're not getting it from the receivers, right? But you're seeing personality and identity from Isaiah Pacheco. So let's see what he can do. And then maybe he can open things up for some of these other guys that are struggling to get open. Because right now they're just like, well, these guys, like, they can't get open. So we're just going to drop back. And then eventually, like, somebody's going to get to Mahomes or he's going to, have to force a ball in. And that's just not going to be a recipe for success for us this week. So.
Bo, how do you think we see more of an aerial attack or more of a ground attack against the Eagles?
I'm going to stick to my guns. I would like to see more of a ground attack. He's kind of been hurt all year, but I really they did it last year. I think they're going to do it again this year. They're going to kind of release the jet a little bit more. I think we see a little bit more McKinnon come out. He was kind of limited in snaps the past couple of games. I think that was kind of by design, saving him for late in the season because, we saw it about this time last year how lethal that guy can really be, even as a passing threat out of the back, right? Like I think we're just going to utilize those guys a little bit more. Maybe not necessarily running it every time, but definitely like check down passes or little flat runs out the back, right? Like, and we're going to see those two guys really have a bigger part than we've seen in games past. But we're talking about like which receiver is going to step up. For me, I think Rashee Rice is kind of doing that as a rookie, kind of under the radar a little bit, man. He's already got like 4 touchdowns, a plethora of yards. He looks good. His yards after the catch he's always fighting for more. Yeah. His ball security could be a little bit better, but that's something that's you can easily work on. And his talent can definitely get him there real quickly. So I kind of think that's the mix, right? Like getting it to a stud like Rice. I love the guy Justin Watson too. I kind of hate to say that he's been our most consistent receiver. I don't hate saying it. It's just I didn't think he would be the guy that was going to be the most consistent receiver on our team. But if you get the threat of McKinnon or Pacheco coming out of the back, and you have that extra linebacker or safety coming down, watching those guys depending on the coverage, it's going to open up a Watson. It's going to open up a Rice. Kelce, he's not going to be held to those many yards again pretty much all season. That guy, that was an anomaly too. So I would like to see an ground attack, but I can't help but think that we're just going to stick to our guns and just continue to spread it out between 10, 11 receivers and have this big question mark about like who's our guy still. But we're winning still. So like how much do you want to change?
Yeah. Isaiah Pacheco is a fine running back. He's not gonna. Watching these other slate of games this week. Almost every game I watched seemed like their team had a guy that was better at running back though. guys that were getting to the edge, guys that were hitting holes and getting through the holes and making guys miss in the open field. Just things that you have not seen out of our running backs. And Isaiah Pacheco, I know he's on track to have over 1,000 yards rushing and receiving, and he's scored, a handful of touchdowns here. And he's a hard runner, so down by the goal line, he can be dangerous. But look, Travis Kelce and Rashee Rice need to do some work against the secondary of this Eagles. That's where their strength on their defense is in their defensive line. So our offensive line, I just don't think they're built for run blocking anyway. And so, look, give Patrick enough time,
protection,
exploit that defense. Sure. I mean, if we're counting on Isaiah Pacheco to get 20-plus touches and get 150 yards and a touchdown to win the game, that's going to be tough. Patrick Mahomes is still the engine that drives this team. They just got to find a way to get Kelce and find a way to get Rice and maybe like a guy like Watson open and just move the ball efficiently through the air. You don't need like the deep bombs either, I don't think. I think you can just get those guys in intermediate routes and use some trickery. I've had a couple extra weeks here to break down tape. Andy Reid is just a killer off of the bye week. So I think you see the Chiefs kind of do what they've been doing and still try to figure that passing attack out with Patrick Mahomes. I see Rashee Rice and or Travis Kelce having a big game.
Yeah, sure.
It's time for Rice to break out, man. Like, I know Andy doesn't like I know he doesn't like leaning on rookie receivers, and rookie receivers have not really been the most productive under him. But right now, they just don't have. They don't have other guys right now. They just don't. And maybe I'll be proven wrong with Sky Moore, and maybe I'll be proven wrong with Kadarius Toney. I think this idea that he's just a number one wide receiver that's not being used because they're saving him for the playoffs, I don't believe that. You see the Dolphins saving Tyreek Hill for the playoffs? Do you see any of these other, do you see the Eagles saving A.J. Brown for the playoffs? Teams don't do that. I don't care how good you are. I know the Chiefs are going to be in the playoffs, but, I mean, you still want that one seed. You still want that bye week. I don't think you can just bank on keeping this secret weapon under wraps for the regular season. You're just going to unleash them at the end of the year in the postseason. I just don't see that happening. I just don't think the guy is as good as everybody thinks he is.
Toney? Is that who you're talking about?
Yeah, Toney. He's had one 100-yard receiving game in his career. It's not very good. So
I mean, to kind of just devil's advocate a little bit, like he got one target last week and he did make something out of it, right? So I mean, like there's that, but God, dude, he had so many bad plays this year that I'm with you on that. Like, yeah, I proposed the question to you guys at the beginning of the season before week one. I said, who would your receivers be going out there, like if everybody was healthy, right? I think we all had Sky Moore. I think we all had Kadarius Toney, and then like that third one was kind of just like everybody kind of had a different. MVS. I think you had Justin Ross, and there was MVS, right? Or no, I think MVS over Sky Moore. But who do you guys? Who would you go with now? Who would your starting receivers be on Monday?
For me personally, it would have been Ross, Rice, and Watson. Those are the guys that should be getting the most snaps. But Justin Ross decided to. I don't even want to get into that whole deal because we don't know the facts what happened, but it looks ugly for Justin Ross right now. Innocent until proven guilty, not making any judgments, not pretending I was there and I know what happened and I have any of the evidence or any of the facts. That's what the court of law is for, but it doesn't look good for Justin Ross. I don't think you see him catching passes for the Chiefs anytime soon. So right now I would have Rice, Watson, and Toney, if he's really that good. You're not in a position where you can just sit there and hold off on that guy anymore and hold him back. If he's the secret weapon, just go ahead and let that secret out now.
One man show thinks Joker's fragile. Could be.
He is fragile. No doubt about that. Nick?
I'm thinking. I mean, I think I got to go the same. I mean, it's got to be Rice, Watson, and Toney. I guess maybe Moore. I mean, Moore has been more productive than
he has
than Toney. But to be honest,
what's that saying about Toney? I mean,
yeah, sure.
I think the past two games
I don't know. I mean,
like 3 or 4 catches though between the two of them.
Yeah, maybe what they saw, and I like he was open in that Lions game, and then it's like, oh well. And then Kadarius Toney was drafted, and you never saw him again. Like, I mean, like he's just been so absent from the offense. He's been getting snaps, so they can say they've been saving him, but I mean, he's been on the field, so I don't know.
And if he's hurt, he shouldn't be out there. If he's recovering from knee surgery, he shouldn't be out there playing.
Yeah, and what I'd really like to see is less rotations, right? I mean, like you see these guys just rotating in and out and in and out and in and out every play. And I would just like to see, if this is our lineup, let it be our lineup and let them get into a rhythm, dude. You know, like, I mean, they don't seem like they get into a rhythm. It's like somebody has a good play, and then it's like, all right, well, come off the field, you know, and they throw somebody else in. So, but
I feel like that's a huge thing in our run game for sure.
Yeah, Laney's in here. Ask about MVS.
See, that would be my sub. I would have the same two. I'd have Rice and Watson, and then I'd probably have MVS. Just a little bit more of a veteran,
right?
Not necessarily more sure-handed or like can get more open by any means, but just something more like some guy that can like read a defense and kind of find pockets, maybe. You know, like I'd.
That's a great
no, they're not saving him for the bench. He's on the bench plenty. Look, yeah, that's
it's a toss-up though, man. Those guys.
McCall Hardman, is he gonna do anything?
Yeah, I'd probably take out Toney and put in Hardman. He knows the offense, and I know that he's had a couple of pretty big bonehead plays, but they're the same bonehead plays that he made for the 4 years that he was here. So
don't take him off of punt returns, man.
Yeah, just don't let him return punts.
Put Toney back there, or put Watson or something. Okay, somebody, because
who was that guy that was returning at the beginning of the season? Washington, get him back out there. He did fine.
Yeah, he left when Hardman came around. Brutal. Just dump Clyde Edwards-Helaire and bring Washington back. I mean, hell, I don't know. God, that guy's just wasting a roster spot right now. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is. Man, it's just the wide receiving thing. I was watching that Amir Smith-Marset guy that we let go. He hasn't really done a whole lot at wide receiver, but at least he was letting punts bounce in the 5-yard inside the 5 and roll into the end zone.
I had the knowledge to be like, yeah, I'm not going to call this one a fair catch.
We could have used that all year this year for that alone, man. The guy understands when to and when not to field a punt at least. So
right.
But I guess the reason I would say MVS, right, is because like I feel like it's like last year, right? He's not as sure-handed as we'd all like him to be. But then, you know, sometimes when it comes to it, he's the guy. He'll have a game and a half when you need him to have that game, and
you can get open downfield.
I haven't seen that in the last year's rookies, this year's sophomores, or any of this year's rookies. So
I mean, occasionally, how many times have you seen him streaking down the field open right now this year, Nate?
Too many.
MVS.
No, I'm sorry. Streaking downfield. I thought you were going to say something else.
I don't know. He dropped a pass that hit him in the hands either last game or the game before, didn't he?
And he was covered though in that. He wasn't open. I mean, the defender made a play on the ball and kind of broke it up, and then it bounced around. He still should have made the catch, but he wasn't open. I mean, he didn't have 3 yards, 2 yards.
He was a half a step behind the guy. Could have caught the ball.
He was a quarter step behind the guy. I mean, I don't know about a half step, but yeah.
John
Rice,
says,
KT,
Rice,
and Hardman.
Tony, yeah.
John C. He's good in here.
That's not bad. It'd be interesting to see. That's a lot of speed right there. Bigger dudes too.
Do we think there's a receiver on a practice squad somewhere that we could bring in? There's got to be somebody out there that could do more than what we've been getting from these other guys right now, man. Somebody.
I feel like a Ferrari owner complaining about my Ferrari though, right? Because we've named it. We're top in the AFC, still winning games, still crushing it, still like top 5 in all most offensive stats. I'm just like, why can't it be better? That's me for sure. I definitely see so many points left out on the field.
Testarossa, not a Enzo, right? I mean, it's not the $1
million. That's why we're seeing all the new
Ferrari.
models come out. Like, oh, look at that one. That one has heated seats. Oh shit.
That literally just happened to me. I bought a new gun. And I haven't even got it yet.
Ferrari?
I saw on their website. It's like, oh, now they've got the new model. I'm like, oh. I texted my cousin, and he just sends
now
back,
your gun's $700 cheaper too.
Right? He said he just sent back a Corvette is a Corvette.
Well, why did you come out with a new one then? If it's the same thing. Anything that worries us about this game? Any matchup problems with the Chiefs?
Yeah, we kind of hit on it a little bit. The offensive line. I mean, that defensive line's notoriously brutal. They know how to get to the quarterback and make things difficult for them. Yeah. And our offensive line's like, again, it's been like hit or miss. Like, we're either really good giving Patrick Mahomes 5, 6, 7 seconds to throw the ball, or the dude's scrambling for his life. So it's like one or the other. I think that's just got to be a little bit more consistent and eliminate the stupid penalties. Dude, our 2 tackles this year are just killing me. But yeah, that'd be my 2 cents. But that'd be my worry is our offensive line.
Yeah, I mean, that pressure on the quarterback. They led the league in sacks last year and got goose eggs in the Super Bowl. So I think the Chiefs can figure out how to kind of slow that pass rush down. Maybe leave in an extra tight end, chip a couple of those dangerous guys on the line, put McKinnon in there in obvious passing downs.
Yeah, the tight ends will have to do a lot of chip work this game, that's for sure.
Right. So, predictions. We want to do some predictions on this game right now. I mean, I think we've broken it down every which way, but
you got any concerns?
So,
yeah, I mean, I think that my concerns are one-on-one coverage with AJ Brown. I mean, that's what burned us on a couple of plays in the Super Bowl, right?
And we had McDuffie.
McDuffie was even on him, and he just misplayed the ball. So you know that, like, if there's one-on-one with that dude, that Hurts is going to chuck it up and see what happens, right? So I mean, that's a concern. But score prediction, I'm going to go. The Chiefs are going to win 24-20.
Ooh, kind of low score.
24-20. Brenda's in here on the record, 28-21. No field goals in this game, kind of like the Dolphins game. Bo, you got a score prediction? You got a score in mind here?
Yeah, I'll go 31-21 Chiefs. I feel like we're gonna get clicking on the offense a little bit. Our defense is gonna be our defense, which is, gold standard right now. And I feel like we're gonna find some things. We're gonna, like I said, I really feel like our running game is gonna be a little bit different this game. It's gonna be a little bit more highlighted in the sense that we use them not only on the ground but in the air too. We're gonna see the jet. So let's give it a nice little 10-point spread there for me.
What did you pick?
What's that?
What did you just pick? I think it cut out. I didn't hear your score.
31-21.
31-21. Well, I was thinking 30-20. So
hey, all right, I like it.
I'm going 30-20.
Oh, Bob.
John C's there right there with you. 30-20.
There's our man John C. He's got 30-20. Didn't we have 3 or 4 people with the same prediction? The game against the Dolphins. So
I think so.
24-21. Tom's trying to get my blood pressure up here. Close 3-point game.
He wants some
Chiefs
broken
at home off the bye week.
Scott's
Chiefs
house.
at home off the bye week are.
Oh, there we go, Laney.
Tough to beat.
Oh.
34-20. There we go. I'm liking the sound of that. Take
go.
that all day, every day. We've got Big Doug or One Man Show is going to get their score prediction in here.
It is supposed to be rainy and kind of cold on Monday here.
Yeah. Tom had a question about wide receiver yards in the game. And do we think our leading receiver has more than 50 yards or something, wasn't it?
Go ahead, Bo.
Sorry.
Leading wide receiver?
What is our leading wide receiver?
Travis Kelce's going to have more than 50 yards. Travis Kelce's going to eat that secondary.
Well, John C. brought it up. Taylor Swift's going to be there, so for sure, Travis Kelce's going to have himself.
There you go.
I changed my prediction.
76 yards.
75-10 Chiefs.
It's going to be a different game here.
Yeah, I think Rashee Rice gets over 50 yards in this game. I think Rashee Rice has over 100. His first 100-yard game as a Chief this week.
Ooh.
Rashee Rice has a reception over 50 yards. How about that?
Man, we're getting hot take central up in here now.
Hot takes.
Woo. We gotta unzip this hoodie a little bit.
You have a receiver with a catch over 50 yards? No way.
Gonna hit my mic into my face again.
There we go. Chris Jones sets an NFL record for sacks in a game. No, I'm just kidding.
12 sacks in one game.
Yeah, Big Doug, 28-21. So it seems like most everybody's in that. Chiefs in like the upper 20s, around 30, and the Eagles around 20.
Almost a touchdown difference, too.
Yeah.
Speaking of defense, you kind of said Chris Jones as a joke, though. How are we thinking he's going to perform coming off a bye week? Him and like Omenihu and Karlaftis and the whole defense, right? Like, I mean,
good.
They were the pressures last game against the Dolphins. I mean, they were there. They were in Tua's face. I think we got 3 sacks, but yeah, I was kind of expecting just a little bit more.
They had a ton of pressures though on him. I mean, he was out of rhythm.
That's for sure. Yeah,
he was not in rhythm, and their offense is predicated off timing and rhythm. So that was really helpful. Yeah, no, the defensive line is looking pretty nasty with Chris Jones and Omenihu and Mike Dana and George Karlaftis.
The Mike's winning, John. You're right.
Yeah. What are you scoring? What's the score right now? The
Mike's up 2-0 on rounds on me right now, right? If I got to come back the next 3 rounds on this mic. Otherwise, it's got me.
Nice touch, though, the CKL sticker on the microphone there. I like that. I noticed that. Good,
I should put one right here just to copy him, to be unoriginal.
If anybody in the chat wants one, just send an email to chiefskingdomlive@gmail.com and we'll get you one.
We'll get you. I got a stack still. I mean, I've given out a handful of mine, but I still got plenty of stickers. So.
Tell us your least favorite thing about Scott, and we'll send you 2.
Top 3.
You better get some more stickers.
3 things.
You better get on Sticker Champ or Sticker Deal or whatever the hell that website was, Bo. And you better get some more ordered up there. So, look, man. I mean, I don't mind being. I'm just more of a realist, man. Like I just call it how I see it. And what's funny is I see like sometimes a lot of these like famous or popular radio personalities around town saying the same shit I'm saying, and I'm like, how come I'm not more popular than I am? People like these guys, and they're critical of guys, and when they do it, it's he makes a good point when I do it.
I forget who it was. Somebody said on Twitter today. They said that it was like, what's your unpopular Chiefs opinion? He said that the Kadarius Toney Super Bowl punt return was super overrated. And I sent it to Scott, and I was like, dude, you and this guy could be best friends.
Right. I mean, it was a big play in the game, but I think the Chiefs still win the game anyway. I think Patrick Mahomes goes down and gets a touchdown there either way. So, huge play in the game. It doesn't get us any points this game Monday, though. I mean, it's not like, you could start with 3 extra points because Tony had a badass punt return against his team in the Super Bowl last year. That's just not the way that works. So, yeah, John, maybe John sees right. Maybe it's all in the delivery. But I got a lot. I mean, but I'm plenty positive when it comes to lots of things, though. When you're seeing all this hate for Patrick Mahomes and questions of his play, and he's not playing his best, and he's missing guys that are open or whatever, I always stick up for our guy Patrick.
Oh yeah, dude, he's the chosen one in my book. He could do no wrong. He broke the curse. He's the curse breaker.
It drives me absolutely nuts when I see people online trying to like blame the offensive woes on Patrick Mahomes. I'm like, bro, have you ever fucking watched football in your life before, man? Like,
or
guys,
did you get the soundbite from Michael Irvin on there yet, Bo?
No, not yet. Yeah, the Mahomes.
I know you do, John. See, it's all good, man. I'm poking a little fun at myself. We love John.
He's my brother, so I gotta talk shit. I mean, it's just like how brothers work.
We love all of our people in the chat. We appreciate.
We're all brothers from another mother, so we give each other shit here.
Right, that we do. But no, yeah, we love the chat too, and all of you regulars in here that are in here every week. We appreciate you more than you realize. I promise you that.
You guys make this fun. You
do absolutely.
Here we go. I don't know how this is going to come through, but this one's for you, Scotty. Well, if I can,
I'm so curious.
Patrick Mahomes is basically God playing quarterback.
That right there is Scott's online persona.
Football Jesus, man, the dude. I've watched that guy win so many games for this team that we had no business winning.
Send that to me, Nick. I'll throw it in there.
Okay.
Yeah, no, we need to get that in the intro for sure. So, I don't know, anybody in the chat got any questions? Anything else we want to talk about before we get out of here tonight? I think we've
hit a lot on the head.
Well, hold on. I think John C. wanted us to talk about. He said he was tired of waiting for us to talk about the Travis Kelce at the concert over the weekend. Scott.
Oh yeah.
Let's hear your opinion, Scott.
Travis Kelce was at the Taylor Swift concert in Argentina. I did think it was funny to talk about. Was that a poor move on his part in the bye week? Instead of resting up and taking time to get healthier, doing all that traveling. First of all, he's not flying southwest to Buenos Aires. Okay, this dude, Patrick probably got him a private jet. All right.
So, I'm sure. Or
Taylor Swift probably got him a private jet. Yeah,
right.
A billionaire now, right?
Private jumbo jet. He's probably flying on a 747, mate.
It's me, jumbo jet.
I mean,
painted tie-dye pink.
Man, how come neither of you guys got access to a jet for me, man? I'm running with the wrong fucking crew of people here. Trav's like, oh, maybe my best friend will get me a private jet to Argentina, or maybe my girlfriend will fly me down there on her private jet. He's got access.
Maybe I get myself a private jet.
Right, he's got access to multiple private jets. Asshole.
He knows like 8 pilots.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's
I mean, he's probably getting them Illuminati treatments now. Going down there hanging with Taylor Swift, right?
Oh yeah, probably is.
And then the lizard people.
Yeah, doing the Pfizer commercials. I mean, he's in like Flynn. So, look, here's the deal with that. Like, I thought it was hilarious that. Was it Good Morning Football brought Scott Pioli in to ask him what he thought about Travis Kelce traveling to South America during the bye week? And I'm like, who in the fuck
is this guy about team management?
The question, like you, what?
What do you think about management, Mr. Pioli?
Right, man. When I heard him say he wasn't worried about it, it wasn't a big deal. I started worrying about it. I was like, fuck, Scott Pioli doesn't think it's a bad idea. It's got to be a terrible idea because that guy, everything he touched here, you talking about everything Patrick touches turning to gold, got the Midas touch. Scott Pioli had I don't know what touch you want to call it, where everything you touch turns to crap, but man.
It's like the Thanos snap, just everything just turns into dust.
Right. I just,
I destroyed it. Oh, man.
I was just like, why are they thinking to ask this guy that question of all the experts, all the people to pick from? Like they should have called one of us and had us on Good Morning Football before that guy.
I'm available. Good Morning America. If you guys want to
tweet too, that like how many people weren't Chiefs fans during the Scott Pioli era?
Right.
And I saw and everybody was like, well, what he said was good. I'm like, I don't care. I don't care what the candy bar rapper guy says. Like,
look, man, like I said, I wasn't worried about it until I heard Scott Pioli say it wasn't a big deal. And I was like, oh, shit.
I don't think it's a big deal until I see, like, if I see Patrick or Travis at the F1 Formula races in Vegas this weekend before their Monday night game, then I'll be like, guys, all right, come on. Come on. But no, I think everything's good.
How did I not get out to Vegas for the Formula One race? What am I doing? Damn.
That's this, dude. They're expensive. Like, you think Super Bowl tickets are expensive? These things are dumb. Like,
you don't even have to go to the race. You can just get a hotel room up there and watch it from the hotel room.
Go look at hotel room prices on the Strip right now in that area where you can see the race, dude. It's like $4,000 a night. It's like,
wow.
No, there's got to be a cheaper room than that.
Dude, not on the Strip, on the racetrack. No, man. Like, first of all, they're all sold out. They're like, there's no rooms, but like the ones that like people are trying to resell, stupid expensive.
Yeah, I saw that he had some little Coors Lights below his chair. They were talking about Patrick Mahomes drinking. Bobby Stroop was like, "Don't worry, he's going to pay for it later."
Right? Yeah.
Pay for every one of them.
Right. You
If
see
you
Bobby,
guys don't
I think
follow
he's
Bobby
just
Stewart on
hydrating.
Twitter,
He's drinking
he's a
Coors
good-
Light.
Yeah, he's a good follow on Twitter.
yeah. Did you see Bobby Stroop getting into it with the Bangalorian guy?
Oh yeah.
And the Bangalorian guy's like, well, like you're a nobody, so I don't care what you have to say. It's like, bro, that's fucking Patrick Mahomes, like personal trainer. What are you talking about? That's a nobody.
And Bobby Witt Jr., right?
Right. Yeah. Dude, the Bangalorian.
I don't know who the
guy.
Bangalorean is. Is that like a Bengals
He's like
superfan?
he's like a Bengals podcaster, and he has a show, and he's called the Bangalorian, and
he's
he
already
dresses
on
up
par with like Chiefsaholic for me, like Bangalorian. I mean,
right, dude.
come on, man. But
he's got like the whole outfit and everything. I mean, looks like a failed Raiders fan. Like got the wrong costume together.
I'm already seeing a like torn wife beater, mustard shirt. Like I probably have the wrong image in my head.
Right. Oh no, bro!
Mustard
Skyline
stain.
chili's really good. Like
No, actually, I think it is the right image in my head.
Right. Yeah. Driving a IROX D Camaro.
Well, hey, they call it Camaro head in some parts of the country, right?
I almost bought a Chiefs wagon too, but I just was too cheap. This dude had a 73 old mail truck. Dude, it was sweet. And it had like the steering wheel on the right side of it and shit. And it had like this little like lift up window on the side of it. Dude, it was tight. I was like,
I could see you driving to games and that shit, just pulling right up to somebody right next to him. Hey, turn right here, you jackass.
right. Yeah. No.
Right next to him in that window.
He wanted a couple grand more than I was willing to spend. So I am looking for a Chiefs wagon. I'll get one here one of these days. So, yeah. I don't know. I think you guys want to get out of here. Call it a night.
That was good. This is a good show. Thank
Good
you,
show,
everybody in the chat.
Chat
rock.
making the show like always. This is your show. We're just tagging along for the ride. If you're watching the show and you haven't subscribed yet, man, we want to give this shit away, people. So
please,
look,
there's so much gear here. I don't know, Chiefs.
And we got to give Brenda a special shout out. She's out here like recruiting for us, man. Brenda is out there tweeting links to the channel, saying, "Go check out the show. These guys are awesome. We only need 19 more followers to get on there." We might have to have we had a special guest appearance here the last couple of weeks with Laney. We might have to see if we can get Brenda special guest appearance on CKL.
If we ever start making money at this thing, we're gonna have Brenda be our marketing director.
Right,
that's for sure.
Right. Yeah. She could be the marketing director, or we'll get her on the payroll. So right now there's no payroll. So as we like to say, this isn't a low budget production. This is a no budget production. So, but once we get to that 500 subs and we can get some view hours up, maybe we can get a little bit of cash rolling in here and help pay for some of this fancy high-speed internet that I put in to do this show and buy some more stuff for giveaways that doesn't come out of my hard-earned paycheck. But I don't mind. We don't mind really hooking up Chiefs Kingdom.
We're just doing it for the love of the game.
We are. We're doing it for the love of the game. We're doing it for the love of Chiefs Kingdom.
That's why we do what we do.
That's exactly it. Right. 100%. Chiefs versus Eagles, Monday Night Football, Arrowhead Stadium, clash of the number 1 seeds right now. We got our score predictions in here. We're ready to go. We've been starved of Chiefs football for about as long as you possibly could be, I want to say, with the bye week and with them playing Sunday morning instead of midday Sunday or Sunday night. Feels like forever since we've watched the boys play, but the non-Super Bowl rematch at Arrowhead Monday night. Looking forward to that game. It's going to be a lot of fun. Thank you, everybody who joined us and watched us tonight.
Thank you.
Don't forget, click like, click subscribe, get entered on the giveaway. And until next week when we talk to you, let's go Chiefs!
Go Chiefs!